how to effectively enable members of our refugee community to become successful entrepreneurs. This session is chaired by Grace. In this session, we'll hear about the opportunities for local entrepreneurs to become successful, and we'll hear from a successful entrepreneur, Mabel Cha of Sligo Global Kitchen.
Hello everyone, delighted to be here today. Apologies for our technical difficulties earlier on. I think no matter how much you test something in trial technology on the day, it'll always give a little hiccup. Delighted to have James here assisting us as well today. So as Martina mentioned, I'm going to speak about the Better Futures project. It'll be coming up on the screen in a minute. It's a fabulous project that I've had the pleasure of working on for the last 2 years. And it's about enabling young refugees to be entrepreneurs. The resources that we've created, we'll go into them in a minute, but I think they're very applicable across a whole range of target groups, not just refugees, asylum seekers, migrants, anyone that wants to get into entrepreneurship. The whole idea is to make the entrepreneurship supports in Ireland and across Europe more inclusive. So I look forward to telling you a little bit about that in the next few minutes. Thanks, James. See now, it's a long time since I've used a clicker as well, so hopefully that works. Left to right? Okay, great. I'm going to try and shorten my session as much as possible. I know we're coming up to lunchtime and Mabel is on the line as well to have a quick call with us, but just a very quick introduction of myself. I've been working with Momentum for almost 10 years now. I have a really strong background in entrepreneurship. Not only have I worked with amazing entrepreneurs, but I'm actually an entrepreneur myself. So when I get to work in entrepreneurship projects, it's always really exciting. And just some of my own insights about being an entrepreneur. I have a business now 4 years, so I think if you survive the first 3 years, you're kind of over the hump and you've got a chance, so hopefully we'll keep going. But just my own insights, as I say, entrepreneurship is a chance to bring your ideas and your dreams to life. When you become an entrepreneur, I think you become part of an entrepreneurship family. And I know certainly the support that I've gotten over the last 4 years as I've developed and grown the business with my husband, we've gotten so much help from other business owners. So there's a connection there that when you become a business owner, there's almost like you have people there in your corner and they'll back you and they'll help you in any way that you can. Being your own boss is challenging, but there's also really exciting. Getting to take control of the business, make decisions, see what way you can take your career and your destiny, because it's a lifestyle when you are an entrepreneur. It doesn't suit everyone, but I think there's a business in all of us, and there's definitely a business idea in everyone. There's a big sense of personal achievement when you set up your own business or you come up with an idea and you work towards that goal and then you achieve some of those goals, be they big or small along the way. There's a huge sense of achievement to that. When you own your own business, there's an opportunity to create opportunities for others as well. So be it job opportunities, giving back to your community, giving to charities. There's a lovely opportunity there to connect in with your community. And also then, I suppose the big one for me and the business that I run is feeling appreciated and that you're actually creating something of value to others. So be it a product or a service, there's that feeling of that, you're creating something for someone and creating value. So just from those little things, I just wanted to highlight a couple of words, because I think in terms of talking about enabling young refugees to be entrepreneurs, there's a few words that stand out: chance, family, control, feeling appreciated, the opportunity to give back, and also a sense of personal achievement. And I think for many refugees and asylum seekers, so much has been taken from them, and they've had to maybe go through huge traumatic events to get to where they are today. So I think entrepreneurship is a great means of giving opportunities, and that's what we found in this project, and hopefully we'll get to see a little bit more of the insights as we go on. So this fabulous lady on the screen is Carol Daniels. She works with the National Enterprise Network in the UK, and they are the project leaders and coordinators of the project. As I say, we're coming to the end of the project, and today is the official launch. So unfortunately, I won't be getting to see as much of Carol as I have in the last 2 years, but she's been fantastic to work with and a real power force of driving this project forward. Some of the things we've learned in the last 2 years, there's been project partners from across Europe working on this, different types of organizations. Some work very closely with refugees and migrants. Others want to learn how to, and want to see the best practices of how to start up and do that, things, as Martina says, from the start, early intervention. So this project is all about sharing best practices. We're looking at entrepreneurship as a viable pathway to integration and inclusion, helping refugees to just use the skills that they already have and to explore entrepreneurship. Looking at entrepreneurship as a means to regain autonomy, and also to explore business ideas, because business ideas are universal. We've seen amazing examples of business ideas that have been brought from countries all over the world, and they work just as well here in Ireland as they do in other countries. So today, as I say, is the official launch of the project, and the project website is betterfutures.how. On the website, we have 3 amazing resources that are there and free to use. The target groups of the project are primarily business advisors, entrepreneurship educators, stakeholders who work with new communities, and the resources then are mostly train-the-trainer resources to help us as educators and to provide better supports. So 3 resources: the Better Futures Best Practice Guide, the Entrepreneurial Assessment, and also teaching resources. I'll skim through these very quickly. I'm very excited to speak to Mabel, who's on the line, and I know I was due to speak to her earlier. I'm not sure what her time is like, so very quickly to tell you about them. The first resource is a train-the-trainer guide. It's got 22 best practices for how to develop and deliver inclusive entrepreneurship programs and initiatives. It's been tried and tested. These are some of the organizations that were involved in helping us develop it, and Martina and Roscommon and her team have been very good to provide case studies and examples of some of the work that they're doing. As I mentioned, tried and tested, and this is just a kind of a snapshot across our other outputs that we've developed for the project as well. We've got the same sort of feedback. So we've gotten expert reviews from across Europe who've told us that these resources are good and they're exactly what they need. So that's just some of the feedback there. I think the last one is the nicest one, that 100% of people who have reviewed the guide and have spent time looking at it would recommend it to a professional contact. So I hope you'll all get a chance to review it in the next few days as well. These are the examples. The presentations, I should say, we'll send to you afterwards. I know some of the text is a little bit hard to see on the screen, but you'll get a chance to see the links and to go into them in more detail. We've got expert insights from educators across Europe who are working with refugees and who are providing entrepreneurship supports. We have insights from refugee entrepreneurs who have set up businesses and who have tips and advice to give to others. That's all in our first output. And then the second output of the project is an entrepreneurial assessment. It's a really useful tool that's been created. There's a number of levels to it. Again, for business advisors, to help them to assess the unique skills and aptitudes of different people, to see if they would be inclined to set up a business, or if they'd be interested to see where their skills are and see where they can help them to improve their entrepreneurship opportunities. The last resource then is a really, really exciting one, a video-based training course called Make My Future. It was shot by friends of ours in the UK, our partner, the Entrepreneurial Refugee Network. They are doing amazing work there, supporting refugees to become entrepreneurs, and they have, I think it's 6 champions who are narrating the training course and really bringing their own stories of being entrepreneurs to life. So it's a really nice way. Sometimes we have, very text-based learning resources. This is video, so there's a peer learning element to it as well. There's 4 sections to it, or 3 sections. There's an Inspire, a Connect, and a Get Started. So really, really practical, lovely resource that we're happy to launch today as well. Again, on betterfutures.out. So please, I hope there'll be lots of hits on the website after today and in future from this. So now I'm going to welcome Mabel Shad to come and have a chat with us. We had the pleasure of speaking to Mabel on a number of occasions. An amazing woman. I don't think anybody could say enough about her. She's a singer, songwriter, former asylum seeker, the driving force of Sligo Global Kitchen. She's a founder of Chaz Hot Sauce. I think my colleague told me that she's now maybe acting. There's an acting on the agenda. I think she's also a board member now of a really interesting organisation, and we're delighted to have you here, Mabel. How are you?
Hi, Grace. Good morning. Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much for having me. And some of the resources that have been shared here, I'm very excited to get in and look at them. Because it's surely something that would benefit me personally in my ventures. And to say that I'm a successful entrepreneur, I don't know about that. Not yet anyways, but I'm at an exciting place. And it's been, my entrepreneurship journey has not been an easy one. And I've had a few things that I've learned throughout the journey. Personally, as there is a difference. A migrant coming in to Ireland through asylum seeking 3 years ago, and those coming in now. Because 3 years ago, many resources were, of course, available online, and you could take the training, but you could do little to nothing with them because you had to have a legal permit to be able to act on any entrepreneurship ideas and skills you had. But now there is an allowance. There's a legal allowance for migrants coming in, for people coming in through the asylum system and becoming refugees in the community. So there's an allowance there now where they can work for a certain number of hours, which I think this is a great development as well, because it was the very first struggle, the very first hurdle I had to go through when I came in 2013. And was in the asylum process for 2 years till 2015. So while I was in there, I've always loved to carry out, to do projects, to upgrade myself and upskill myself and get into, especially in music, get into entrepreneurship through music. That's what I mainly did before coming to Ireland. So when I came in, I saw it was a great place, a great community I entered in Sligo, very welcoming. But the place I was going to, I met very few people who would understand exactly how to direct me on this path. So what I did anyways, within the 2 years while I was in the direct provision system, as I could not work legally, I created links and connections with local community groups. And there were some few trainings up to level 3 with the ETB, for example, which I could take just to get acquainted to the language culture, to the legal systems and the requirements to be able to integrate the community at a certain level. So while in there as well, I could craft. Lord knows I knit scarves, I knit caps, and the few communities I had come across when I knit them, they said, "Oh, Mabel would buy one of those off you." And this was very interesting to me as people wanted more and more of it. But I don't know, I just didn't keep up with it. It was not it for me. But then I knew then that I could do this. I knew I could do this for me. I knew I could do this. Then I started singing. I joined choirs. I joined singing groups in Sligo, went for a few competitions. And like I'm saying, the singing, the kind of music that I had been in and where I would have loved, where I would love my music to be, I just didn't get something like a clear path that I could follow. I didn't get a clear path. There was no access to information that would lead me. The overload of information I got, I didn't know how to arrange this. So there was quite an overload, because with accessibility to the internet and to online resources as well means you just get overloaded with all this information. So what I did was I stayed with my local community through my art, music, and performance, and then came food. With Anna Spearman, we set up the Sligo Global Kitchen, which was a venture that initially was just to create a platform for people who were in my situation, living in a direct provision system with no access to work or further education, to be able to get out of the centers and integrate with the community and make connections. I personally really profited from this platform. All the connections Global Kitchen came with, the education, the skills upgrade it came with, are what empowered my entrepreneurship journey till now. So I took training courses, and these are all my personal journeys. I did a training session, a 4-day training session with the Social Enterprise Ireland Academy. So they launched this training where you can you write and then they would select a few people to go on this training. I went in there and I found it quite resourceful. But what happened was, again, like I said, the path is not as clear. I suppose it's not for everybody, but it was not as clear coming from a different culture, a different approach at entrepreneurship, a different country with a different approach at entrepreneurship. Basically, I'm originally from Cameroon. You have an idea, you want to sell tomatoes, you go to the farm or to the farmer, you harvest your tomatoes, you come and sit in the market, pay for a stall, sit in the market, put your tomatoes, and you sell. But then I came into a place where no, that's not how it was. There were all these legal and health and safety and insurance, and so all these things, they came at me, and I was, oh wow. And this is not just me. I have a few people that would look at all this information. The thing is, I didn't understand how to arrange them. What do I do first if I wanted to sell tomatoes? What do I do first if I want to sell music? Where do I start? Okay, I write, I compose, and then I produce. That much I know, and I would know where to get these people. But then to turn it into a business, which is still something I struggle with. It's part of my entrepreneurship journey I still struggle with today, because I've done a release. I released an EP in 2019 of music, a music EP, 5 tracks, which went down really well with my community, my local community. And then I performed at the Spaces, the model, which is the space where I have a lot of activities and connections. And it was a full house performance, sold out, and everybody that came there loved the performance and bought a CD. But then how do I grow this beyond this community? That's where it becomes tricky even for me. But then looking at challenges that other refugees would face, for example, it took a lot of patience for me to be able to open some of the thick booklets to understand entrepreneurship in Ireland, and reading all through this in English language. Well, it would have been easier for me as opposed to any other person that was having to go through a language barrier first before. So then the tendency is when people come in through the refugee system, even if they have these entrepreneurship skills, very few successfully go on to establish and grow successfully. Most people will just tend then to do a course and a training that will just lead them into work, and then they don't have to ever worry about this.
Can I ask you?
Yeah.
Yeah, just you mentioned that it sounds like you've done a lot of work yourself, a lot of study yourself. Was there any support that you got along the way? I know you mentioned the Social Innovation Ireland or the Social Entrepreneurship Ireland training. Was there other supports that you got, or were there ones missing maybe that you could have done with? Because I suppose in the room today and the project partners that I'm working with, there are a lot of them are entrepreneurship, they're entrepreneurship agencies, they're business support agencies, they're business advisors, and I'm just wondering if you have insights there that, what could we be doing better to support you and others?
Oh, yeah. I got other support. I got support, like I was saying, from the ETB. I also got I did the Start Your Own Business course, where I got to write out a business plan about how I would want to progress with my music. But then what I say is, then I do the business plan and I have all these resources where to access this information. But then it's the help could just be simple, like a platform, the platform where you go in, coming in as a refugee, to you can get information with a step-by-step, for example, easy enough to start as an entrepreneurship. First do this, then you do this, then you do this, and what's your idea? So I've gone through some of the steps. I would like to think with what I am doing now, with what I'm hoping to continue with, I'm at a place now, I'm at a better place than when I started, but it was not easy. So this, the information overload, just to make it have a place where it is. The basic rules are quite simple. And I'm saying this because I found it quite interesting. Coming here to Belfast to study, because I'm finishing my master's, like I'm submitting my dissertation in about 15 days, and that's me done with the master's. But while doing that as well, it's all around food. I have set up a platform, findacook.online, just to bring cooks in the community and customers together. So a platform to share meal experiences and all that. And setting it up, I found it easy. I went through a training here as well with the local enterprise here in Belfast. And I found that the language was a bit easier, because then it got me right to the point where I have the online platform at this stage now, which is building the apps and all that. That's something else altogether. But when I was in Sly, it was just the overload of information and not very clear, just the big books and the very thick literature that I have to read, that I could read this, but what about that person who came in, is a refugee struggling with everything else? Your status in the country is unsure. Okay, that's nothing that could be done until the government decides to free. But then when that's done, you have to think language. You have to think, okay, the culture is different. You're not about to bring the culture of the way businesses work in where you come from to here. You have to adapt. But then, is there a language? Is there a place where you could get a language? And another thing was, for me, it was music, and I did not have that role model that had gone through it before me, that I could just go to and say, how did you do it?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking maybe that's another struggle. I know we look at restaurants. There are many local restaurants of entrepreneurs from refugee backgrounds establishing all these takeaway restaurants, and they seem to be doing quite all right, which is good. Then they're acting as a role model. And so what's happening is restaurants and barbershops, that's where everybody coming in through the refugee, they tend to graduate towards that. And I'm thinking, what about something else? Just having the role model that would have gone through all of it. Sometimes I like to think that maybe, let me take all the heat, so that someday somebody will come and ask me, and I'll be able to tell them, listen, you need to do this. And then when you reach at this stage, then. So basically, that has been my journey, and what I'm saying, the path I'm staying on is not clear, and I'm not sure that I'm a successful entrepreneur yet, and I don't even know if I'm going to be able to go through with it. But one thing I know is I'm not giving up, not now. I'm working with momentum as well. It's just
Thanks, Mabel. I think a lot of what you said there kind of rings true to what we found in the project as well. The need for language supports, clear, concise, step-by-step guidelines. And I think the partners who've been involved in the project have already changed their approaches based on what they found and what they've been involved in. So hopefully today and the event today will help others kind of take that path as well, use what we've created from the Better Futures project, and hopefully be able to provide better futures and better resources in the, for everyone. So yeah, thanks for joining us, Mabel. I really appreciate it. Again, apologies for the slight time delay. I hope we haven't set off your day. You have 15 days to your dissertation, so wish you the very best of luck with that.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for having me.
Your masters. Thanks so much. So good to see you again.
Yeah. Okay. Bye-bye.
It was very inspirational, and thanks to Grace for developing such great resources and all the partners involved. And I think Mabel outlined there, we have a lot more work to do, but we're all willing to support. And in the county, if anybody wants support, contact Roscommon Leader Partnership. We'll work with you on a one-to-one basis. And there's a local development company in every area of the country to support you on a one-to-one basis.